everyone. Welcome back to Susan Doan at Spiritual Connections. Here we have a very special support video for those who are on the Sacred Union Path of Ascension, who are finding themselves in the process of reunion or reconciliation with the counterpart. This video is going to be especially for divine feminines. So you can watch it as divine masculine if you're a divine masculine, but this is especially going to be for divine feminines. Take it as it resonates for you, of course, but it's with the intention for the divine feminine as support if you are coming into reunion or reconciliation, if you're feeling those union energies around you, and especially if it's bringing up some anxieties, some fears, some past energy. This is going to be a support video for you for your sacred union journey. With regards to ascension, your sacred union path of ascension. I've been wanting to do this video for a couple of weeks, and as like a moment of divine synchronicity, I had a client who shared that she was now again in contact with her counterpart, and she was feeling some fears come up, and she wanted to do a reading on that. And as I was doing that reading, there was a lot of collective energy that was coming through. There was a lot of powerful energy that was coming through. I always say that you have to get to know each other again as you come back into reconciliation and reunion with your counterparts. That you have to allow yourself to release the past, because the past is in the past. And we're really starting to feel that. We're really starting to anchor that in. And that's what was coming through in her reading as well. These powerful messages of allow yourselves to be different. Remember that you're different, that you've gone through a process of ascension. You're continuing to evolve. You're continuing to anchor that embodiment in. You're continuing to expand within your heart space and shifts in consciousness as well. You're continuing. This journey continues, but now you're at the next stage. You're no longer going through that, what I like to differentiate as the twin flame journey of healing. Now you're at that higher heart ascension, where you might be coming back into contact with that same person as they're going through their transformation, or it could be a counterpart that is reflecting your healing and your growth. We'll talk more about that, of course, in some upcoming videos. Everybody's on a little bit of a different path. You trust what is in yourself. Trust your heart, trust your intuition, trust your path. You are not meant to compare our paths to anybody else. We might have a collective energy, but you know what feels true for you. So I have some clients who are coming into connection with somebody new. I have some clients who are coming into connection or reconnection with somebody that has been their catalyst for their journey, for their ascension, who has been their counterpart. So everybody's in a little bit of a different stage. You know what's true for you, but the energy around it remains the same, whether you're meeting somebody new or whether there is somebody that is coming back around into contact, into communication, and even for some into higher levels of commitment or relationship. In that sacred relationship, I'm hearing in that sacred container, some of the energies of fear, anxiety, what is this going to be? Is this going to be a repeat of the past? Remains the same. And we can feel that anticipation, especially moving in from February into March. We can definitely feel that sense of anticipation of something coming in. And the real insight, the real messages, the powerful messages that were coming in, was to make sure that you're continuing to ground yourself and make sure that you're remembering that you're not the same person that you were at the beginning of the journey. This energy feels almost like a reset. I've said this before in our channelings. It feels like we're going back to the beginning. Now, whether that's the beginning with the counterpart that you had previously met that activated you, or whether this is the beginning with somebody new, it's like we are coming back to the beginning of our journey, but with higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of wisdom, higher understanding of ourselves, of each other, of the world, higher, deeper connection to ourselves, higher frequencies. And so we have to have compassion for what we didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know when we didn't know it, right? So we have to have compassion for that. But once we become aware of the patterns, of the beliefs, of the shadows, once we become aware that we're acting and behaving or playing out of the unconscious self, that awareness then is the pattern changer. That awareness then is the belief breaker. That pattern then is where we release those blocks, because what we're doing is we're coming further and further, deeper and deeper back to love, back to our core essence, back to our authenticity, without those beliefs, without those patterns, without those blocks, right? And so We don't know what we don't know, so we have to have compassion for that former version of ourselves. But that's what this ascension journey is. It's about transcending those old versions of ourselves, becoming the best version of ourselves. And best does not mean perfection. Perfection, this is not a process of perfection. Perfection, too, is an illusion. So, what we're doing is we're just becoming the best version of ourselves that we can be in any given moment. And as God brought to me a message many, many weeks ago, life is messy. Life is messy, He said. Let it be messy. Just be the best version of yourself. Be very present with yourself and know that you are embodying the heart. Know that you're embodying love. Know that you are embodying the higher consciousness. That's where your point of power is. That's where your superpower is, by being present, by embodying love. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make missteps. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you're not going to perhaps regress back into unconscious patterns. But the more that you put into practice that awareness, the more that you can quickly transmute. The more that you can say, oh, that was an unconscious pattern that I was acting out of again. You can make amends, you can repair, you can reconnect. It's a cycle, it's a pattern of within yourself and with others of harmony sometimes leads to conflict. Let me put it this way: conflict leads to disharmony and disconnect, but that disharmony and disconnect through your awareness leads to repair, which leads to more harmony again. So it's like a cycle. You're never going to get out of challenges and obstacles. We are humans having a very physical human experience. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be misunderstandings. There's going to be obstacles and challenges. But you have the tools and the resources now to work through them, to repair them, to reconnect. And that's where you're clearing the illusions of separation. Separation says, I can't do this. Separation says, I'm not worthy. Separation says, I'm not valued. Separation says, I'm making a mistake and falling into victimhood or falling into woe is me energy. Separation says, I can't repair this. Separation says, I can't make a new choice. Unity says, I am worthy. Unity says, we are all worthy. Unity says, I can make new choices. Unity says, I am capable because I have the tools and the resources, and the major tool and resources that you have is connection to yourself, which is connection to God's source. So it doesn't mean that you won't have periods of perhaps conflict. You won't have periods of confusion. You won't have periods of misunderstanding. I'm not just talking about with counterparts, but I'm talking about with the world. There might be challenges, there might be obstacles, but consciously connecting with both yourself and with others means that you are now connected, means that you are now conscious of the fact. You're conscious of where you were previously unconscious. You're conscious of the beliefs that are playing out. You're conscious of the blocks. You're conscious of the patterns. You're conscious of the behaviors. You're conscious. And that state of consciousness is your superpower. And from there, everything is created. From that present moment, everything is created. So, it was a really powerful reading that I did for her, and we pulled cards that were really indicative of the channeling that I was giving even before I pulled cards for her. And you see, this is all masculine. No. Okay, backwards. Backwards, Susan. This is all masculine energy. And we talked about this too, which we'll get into. But also this present energy, being in that state of presence. So what I want to do is I'm going to share, rather than rechanneling everything and going through everything again, I'm going to share that reading with her permission. All details, etc., excluded, just the collective energies, just the powerful collective messages for support for you on your ascension journey. Also, have so much kindness for yourself. This has been a very long and rough journey. It is a process of evolution, so be so kind and so compassionate for yourself. I always say ascension is a whole other ball game. Ascension is the greatest and most difficult experience that you will have. Ascension is going deeper and deeper and deeper into the chasms, into the darkness of yourself, where you believe I'm getting this energy of an abyss, but it's not an abyss, because that's where you find yourself. By going into like the underworld of yourself, that's where you find yourself. That's where you integrate that darkness into light. But what we've learned is that darkness isn't darkness. That darkness is depth. And there is beauty in the depth, especially for you divine feminines. That darkness that everybody calls bad is just depth. You have so much depth to you. And you've been discovering that, and you've been integrating that into that light. I really encourage you guys to check out the Shadow and Light Twin Flame channeling, or the Revealing the Light full channeling that we did over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, because that's where that message came through. And that's what it is. That's what you've been doing. You've been going into the depth of yourself to rediscover your light, to believe in yourself, to have faith in yourself, maybe for the first time in your life. So have compassion. This has been a very difficult journey, and your counterpart has been reflecting those parts of you, those pieces of you. But it's from this place, from the higher place of unconditional love. We're not talking about the physical vessel. We're talking about the energy. We're talking about the higher soul in which you're always connected. We're talking about unconditional love. And you see these throat chakra activations. It's so interesting because I feel like there is this union energy that is surrounding us now. It's just old fears that might be cropping up. How do I express myself? How do I share myself? How do I open up? How do I be vulnerable? And it requires intimate relationships, require that vulnerability. Intimate relationships require that rawness. Intimate relationships require that depth. And what's happening now is you're not doing it on your own anymore. You've never been alone. You've never been separated. You've always been in union. But now you're consciously aware of that. And as you move into physical partnership, as you move into physical union, you recognize that it takes two to be in that conscious connection. Both of you consciously working for the connection, for the relationship as that third energy. Both of you working in support of each other rather than triggering each other and creating more division and creating more separation energy. You're working towards each other to close the gaps, to build the bridges. And that's where we're going to get into this energy today. I wanted the original channeling to come through because, again, there was so much power, and I would never be able to replicate that. So let me know how you guys are experiencing your reunions or reconciliations, how you're even just experiencing this energy. This starts first and foremost within you. So if you're feeling union energy, it's because you're meant for union. And so this could be, again, somebody that is coming back that you've been on this journey with, or this could be somebody that is somebody new, but you are meant for union. You wouldn't be feeling that union energy without it. And so just make sure that you're tuned into your intuition, trusting your intuition. Make sure that you are honoring yourself, because that's the new energy that you're in, right? And also make sure that you're trusting the energy of, whoever this person that comes in as a physical partner. Make sure that you're trusting that energy too. When I say trusting, I mean that the actions are aligned with the words, or the words are aligned with the actions. Make sure that it's in integrity. Make sure that it's honoring of each other. Make sure that you're not playing out unconscious patterns again, because that's where you get caught in another cycle, right? That's where you get caught in another loop. So when we say like coming correct, it doesn't have to be these grand gestures. The smallest step is the quantum leap energetically. And that's what I've been channeling for some clients over the past few weeks too. It might look like a small step. It might look like a phone call. It might look like a let's have coffee, let's talk. It might look like a very small step, but those small steps in the physical are energetically quantum leaps that really begin to set the stage and foundation of a much more stable connection, a much more conscious connection as you build for whatever that future is. And that's, conversations and communication that you have together. But don't get too far ahead. Be very present. Listen to each other. Hear each other out. Be in that state of consciousness together. Because there's a healing that's taking place. There's a mending that's taking place. And there is a releasing of the old as you anchor back into love, which is and always has been the truth. And this is what you're coming back around to. To remember at the beginning of your journey with your counterpart, you experienced so much unconditional love. It was like a sacred bubble. time just stood still. It was like you two were the only ones maybe in the room or in your location. And when you're in that state of harmony, that's what it feels like, because you're in that state of love for each other. It's just your humanness that gets in the way. And sometimes life is messy, as God said again. Sometimes life is messy, but with your power of awareness now, with that new level of consciousness, you can repair and reconnect back to that love and back to that harmony, which is your natural state of being and your natural state of being with each other as these divine counterparts. So you're remembering that love, you're clearing out all the karma, you're clearing out all the illusion, you're clearing out all the past. The past is being put firmly in the past so that you can create from this present, so that you can start anew. So I didn't want to channel that much, but we're gonna go from here. This is support, especially for the divine feminines, but take this however it resonates for you. I am sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll be back with some more readings later this week. The best advice I can give in times like these is ground, 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 ground. Especially since you specifically are grounding your union in the physical, keep grounding your own energies, keep bringing it back to your own energies. I do want to say you have all the tools and the resources from this journey. Don't be afraid heading into your physical union. Don't be afraid. And that's, I feel like that's almost like, well, how can I not be afraid? You know, that kind of thing. But keep transmuting any fear that comes up. Keep transmuting any anxiety, any elements of the past that might be coming up. Keep transmuting it. Remember that you're not the same person. Keep trusting in your intuition and your energy and where you're being guided. Keep anchoring into that embodiment, and I'm hearing the feminine embodiment of who you are, because that's what's going to help ground the physical union. Now, he has to play a part in grounding that energy as well. But that's where you trust him to do that. That's where you let him, within his own journey, do that. Don't try to force anything. Don't try to control anything. Don't try to manage anything. I was going to say the word manipulate, but they said manage. So don't try to manage anything. Just keep trusting. Keep that energy of independence that you've gained along your journey. Keep that energy of interdependence as you come into physical connection, relationship, and keep allowing the process to unfold. Your process, it looks in the 3D maybe like a physical relationship, but it is a spiritual connection first and foremost. These relationships with twin flames, sacred partners, whatever you want to call it, is not like we anticipate it. It is a spiritual connection first and foremost, where they're catalyzing you constantly for your ascension. You're catalyzing each other, I should say, constantly for your ascension, for your expansion. That's the role that you're playing for each other in this time and space. And there is absolutely undeniable, unconditional love there. But that is the purpose for it. And what is ascension? It's bringing you home to love. And you're coming home to each other in that energy of love. So that's where I say keep doing what you're doing. Keep focused on yourself. And when I say focus on yourself, I don't mean in like a selfish way. I just mean in your path is important too. Keep focused on your path. Keep focused on what you're doing. Keep focused on what you're creating. And what you're actually doing, I'm hearing, is you're making space for your partner. Now, he has his own tools and resources and gifts that he's going to be bringing to the table. This just means opening up for room for each other. And from there, you will decide what it is that you want to build together. But if he is feeling like he needs to take it slow, let him take it slow. It's not for you to hurry along as much as you might want to, because again, you do have that vision, like you said, you do have that vision as the feminine. But put faith in the masculine, put some trust in the masculine. Remember, the masculine is kind of like the gas pedal, right? Trust that their energy, maybe not their ego, maybe not their physical self, but trust in the energy. Trust in your own inner masculine for how fast and how slow it's meant to be going. Because that's where your masculine is part of you. Not looking at the masculine outside of yourself, at your partner as the other, but understanding that you're one. And so as one, you're always working together. And so that's where you have to trust him and what he might be teaching you as well. So keep allowing for the evolution and trust in your counterpart to help that to evolve. If in the physical, he's acting out of ego, poor behaviors, poor patterns, the same patterns, that's where you have to turn to yourself and say, okay, what have I learned? How have I grown? And where am I going to continue to honor myself versus any place where I had self-abandoned in the past? So that's where you have healthier boundaries. Maybe that's where you're standing up for yourself more. Maybe that's where you're expressing yourself more. Maybe that's where you're expressing your needs, your desires, your wants more. And it's not out of a way to control, it's not out of a way to manage, but it's just out of a way of, this is where I am, this is what I need, this is what I desire. And so you're expressing that naturally as part of your feminine essence, and that's going to be up to him whether or not he's capable of holding that, and not just holding that, but of leading the connection. And so if you're having those honest communications, if you're having those honest conversations, and he is in fact desiring the same as you're on the same page, you're having those connections or conversations about your future, you're talking about what you both want, again, you're on the same page, then allow it to continue to be a process, allow it to unfold, because what's happening is you're still building the foundation together. It's like you're building a new foundation together, as long as the actions are matching the words, as long as the energy feels peaceful to you and it feels intuitively good to you. That's where you have to keep going within and trusting your own intuition. Keep following your intuition. And don't be afraid, too, of separation. Don't be afraid, too, of taking time apart. I'm calling it separation, but it's not separation as in like years apart, months apart. Don't be afraid of going back into separation, because that's what's going to perpetuate the separation energy. You have to keep remembering that you're always in union. This is always a process of union, remembering union, coming back to union. That you and your partner are always one. There is no separation. So the fear is just going to keep perpetuating those cycles. Don't be afraid of that. See the gift that might come from any time spent apart, or any process that might be evolving. Okay, so keep looking at the fears. Any fears or any anxieties that keep cropping up, keep looking at that. That's where your inner work is. And it's just adjustments now. It's not going to be the big stuff like you've done in the past. It's just the adjustments. It's the, okay, I see where this is still a fear of separation. So let me work on clearing this. Let me see what my beliefs are. Let me see what my patterns are. So you keep doing the inner work. So anywhere where there is fear, keep doing that inner work, and always, always, always follow your intuition. We have action, we have desires, and we have responsibility. Interesting. You see how these are all the three lower chakras, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus in order? This is all masculine energy. I feel like you need to work on grounding your masculine energy. That's going to help ground the connection in the physical. It's interesting. Remember when I said grounding? I started this reading for you talking about needing to ground our energy. That's this energy here. It's the grounding of the masculine energy in that state of presence. Being very present with yourself, not worrying too much about the future, not worrying how is this going to unfold, not worrying how is this going to come together, how are we going to be partners, how are we going to be in a relationship. That's control. That's managing. Right? That's trying to force and manipulate. And there's not a judgment, because we all do it. That's the shadow side. That's the ego side. We all do that. And this is a process. Our ascension is a process of coming more and more and more into our presence, and recognizing more and more and more where we might still be trying to control. And again, it's not a judgment, because we all do it. We try to control because there's that fear of uncertainty, right? And so it's about anchoring in, grounding this energy into the energy of faith, into the energy of surrender as the divine feminine, and into the energy of trust. And so with the masculine energy, it's about trusting your inner masculine energy. That's where you're grounded. That's where you are stable. That's where that state of presence is. That's where you are certain. You are just reflecting your own uncertainty. The fears of, what if we're not on the same page, or what if, how maybe he's taking too slow, and I want to move faster. You're just grounding your own mistrust in yourself. because I don't want to say grounding. You're just reflecting your own mistrust in yourself, because there's some kind of separation that's being created of not trusting him. You're not trusting that he's moving as quickly as you desired. You're not trusting that this is going to come together. And so that's the energy that you have to ground. You have to ground and work on your own inner masculine energy. Action, desire, responsibility. This is all masculine energy because it's that lower three chakra, right? That's where the masculine energy is. Action, you're not trusting that there is movement, that there is action that is taking place here. It might look like baby steps, but that is a significant energetic leap. And so I've been channeling this for a couple of clients lately. Even though it might look like baby steps, even it might look slow moving, it is a giant energetic leap that is being put into place. And that momentum is like a snowball effect, and it picks up and it picks up and it picks up. But don't rush it. Don't rush ahead. You have the vision as the divine feminine, but don't rush that vision. Trust in your masculine, your inner masculine as one. Trust in that energy to align. Trust in your vision to align. Don't rush it. What is the rush is what they're saying. What is the rush? What are you actually rushing for? What is the fear there? So keep looking at that. Keep doing the inner work around any of that fear. What is the rush? And I get it. As divine feminines, this journey has been long. It's been challenging. It's been arduous. We're like, come on already, right? But the momentum is picking up. Keep trusting in your masculine, keep trusting in your inner masculine, because there is action here, and the action is going to continue to pick up. Remember, the masculine energy is going through a major ascension process, and divine feminine has already gone through their ascension process, is continuing to go through their ascension process, and the masculine is catching up. But the masculine, it catches up at like lightning speed. So it's not going to take the many years and months that it's taken you for your ascension. The masculine, because of the feminine energy pulls the masculine up. The feminine energy goes first, leads the way. As the feminine heals, then the masculine does. But the masculine does it very, very, very quickly. I mean, like lightning speed, like lickety split, very quickly. So it's not going to take as long as perhaps it had for you or for the feminine. That's where you have to trust. With desires, goals, passion, craving, fulfillment, this is about acknowledging your desires, not denying any of your desires, claiming your desires, maybe even expressing your desires to him, but then releasing. What is one of the fundamentals of manifestation, right? One of the fundamentals of manifestation is having that vision, claiming that vision, embodying that vision, or the feeling of that vision. How does it feel now? And surrendering that, and just anchoring into the present moment. The vision is not something out there. If you're looking too far out there, then you're not embodying the energy that you need in order to align, in order for that manifestation to come to you, right? So go back to the basics of manifestation as well. That's going to really help you as well with this anchoring in of your situation, of your relationship. Because allow yourself to express the desires, allow yourself to claim the desires, allow yourself to understand what it is that you want, know what it is that you want, maybe even express that to your partner. But then allow yourself to surrender, and again, trust him with that responsibility. Trust him to take accountability and responsibility for his side of the partnership. You no longer have to hold up both sides of the partnership. Trust in him to have that personal sense of self-empowerment, to have that active energy, to have that courage and that strength to be the partner that you seek, to fulfill those desires. Because the masculine energy is naturally giving, right? He wants to fulfill the desires of the feminine. But you have to surrender in order to allow him to do that. So there's a huge piece of this puzzle here that's coming in for you. And it's just about embodiment. It's embodying that feminine energy and really grounding your inner masculine, and trusting your partner as the masculine, to be the masculine. A lot of divine feminines have been in a masculine energy in their life because there wasn't a safe, conscious masculine in which they could be partner with, especially in the physical. Males or masculines didn't feel safe, didn't feel present, didn't feel conscious. And that's where we've been along our journey. As we've been going through our ascension, we've been leaning into our safety, security, presence of our own inner masculine, which allows our feminine to flourish, Well, now that our feminine is flourished, you're inviting in a partner that is the masculine energy. And that masculine energy is going to be able to hold the container. Just as you've learned to hold the container within yourself, that masculine energy is going to hold the container of safety, security for you to express the full divine feminine essence of who you are. They're going to be very present. They're going to be able to give. They're going to be able to allow you to receive rather than you over sacrificing yourself or over giving, again, in your own inner masculine energy. So keep getting comfortable in your inner masculine that allows your divine feminine essence to flourish. And that's when the masculine energy is going to be able to step up. Now, they're on his end, they're doing their own job, they're doing their own role in learning about themselves. But I'm talking about you as a divine feminine. This is your job, your role. They're looking at it from a different angle. Yeah, okay, so it just needs to clear your energy. There might be some fear that's coming up. There might be some anxieties that are coming up. Old fears. It feels like old energy. Just keep clearing your energy, keep grounding. Because the blessings seem blocked right now. And then we have this clear the energy, clear the air, distant thunder. That's what it is. It's just clearing your energy, coming back to love, coming back to that state of presence within yourself, centering within your heart space, keeping in tune with your heart space is also what I'm hearing. Making sure that you're following and trusting your intuition versus the ego. Not letting the ego rule anymore, but really embodying that feminine essence of intuition. I feel as if what has been happening is as you're coming into physical union, as you're having more conversations and communication, that union energy is manifesting and grounding. And remember, it's because you've always been in union. You've just been clearing the blocks of separation, the illusion of separation. But I feel like old fears and old illusions and old patterns might be cropping up. Maybe even fears of old patterns might be cropping up, and that's actually blocking the blessings here. And also, I'm hearing is shift your perspective. Look at the blessings. Look at how far you've come. And rather than looking ahead and fearing, is this going to happen? Is this ever going to happen? Or when's this going to happen? Again, bring it back to present and look at how far you've come. Be very present in your connection because the presence is what brings the blessings. Believe in the magic. Believe in the magic that is unfolding. Keep that energy of gratitude. Keep that high vibration. Anytime you feel yourself getting ahead of yourself, bring it back. Bring it back to presence. Bring it back to the gratitude. Bring it back to look at how far we've come. Look at how far I've come. At the very least, bring it back to yourself at how far you've come. And that too is going to help to clear the energy within the connection and bring more love into the connection. I know on the 3D, as you're communicating, it's like, why can't we just, move into partnership? Why can't we just, whatever it is that you desire? But it's a process, and allow the process to take place. Because the more that you allow the unfolding, the more that you allow the process to take place, the more you're building a stable foundation. If you were to rush everything, that foundation would not be steady because there would be ego involved, there would be more patterns, more old beliefs, more repeats of the past. You're building something new here, and building something new takes time. So it's just this energy that keeps coming forth. I'm sorry, it feels like tough love, but just take your time with it. Don't rush it. You're creating something new. You're not meant to know the whole path. I feel like with the Six of Swords and the Moon here, it's like I'm in the boat, I'm heading in a new direction, I just don't know where I'm headed. It's like it's shielded from you, it's veiled. And remember when we talked about uncertainty? That's what you have to get comfortable with. Getting comfortable with the discomfort. Getting comfortable with the not knowing. Because that's where you anchor into your trust. And that's where you take charge of your life. But from the feminine essence of surrender. From the feminine essence of faith and trust. You're not trying to control anything. You're just, okay, this is where I'm headed. This is where I'm going because this is where I'm guided. And you might not know exactly what's on the horizon there. We can't see where the rest of the boat is, right? But that's where you have to have trust. It's almost like what I'm getting is like, let the moon guide you. Let the moonlight guide you. That kind of energy. There might be some old energy that's moving out as new energy moves in, and that's what's going to happen with these unions. That's what's going to happen. I've always said from the very beginning that as you come into union, I said this many, many years ago, you have to get to know each other again. Because you're in a new energy and your partner's in a new energy, and that's what this is. It's like it's almost like you have to start over. But that's the blessing, right? Don't block the blessings. The blessing is the starting over. Don't expect that you're going to pick up where you left off. Build that foundation. Be very present in the energy of gratitude here. In the energy of, great, let's see what we're building. Let's keep building something new, not the past. You're not repeating the past. Let that vision that you have expand. Let the dreams that you have expand from the old version of who you were. That's what the Two of Wands says too. Let that expand. Let that vision of what you had wanted to expand.